Too many lives lived out of work or trapped on the sick. The government has promised a welfare revolution, and if it's to work anywhere, it has to work in places like Torfan in South Wales. Blighted by long-term unemployment, it's been chosen to test out direct payments, a key building block of universal credit. Claimants have housing benefit paid into their bank, and it's up to them to make sure they pay the rent.
The idea they've been testing here goes right to the heart of the government's welfare mission. They want people who've long relied on benefits to take more responsibility, to do the right thing, to make sure their housing benefit is only ever spent on paying the rent. But for many tenants here, it's a responsibility they can't or don't want to cope with.
57-year-old Gary Erickson has been unable to work for 20 years. He was put on the direct payment pilot and asked to sort out his own rent.
We used the money to get Christmas presents for the kids, and then after Christmas then we made arrangements with Bronavon to try and pay it back to them.
But you knew at the time this was money that you should put on the rent?
Yeah, I knew what it was, and I knew I shouldn't have done it, but seeing children's faces on Christmas morning meant more than I know I was going to suffer later. I knew I'd have to explain why, but it was me taking that risk.
He's not alone. A third of all Bronavon community housing tenants on the trial have had to be put back on the old system.
The point of this, the government say, is to give you responsibility, it's to give you independence.
It is to give you responsibilities, but it's a bigger responsibility to try and not spend it.
At the local Citizens Advice Bureau, rent arrears because of direct payments are a growing part of their caseload. They acknowledge the government have put in safeguards. Tenants building up arrears can be switched back to the old system for a while, but they want them to go further. What would you like to see though?
That anybody in a vulnerable position or anybody that can't cope or just chooses to opt out, can do so without a big rigmarole taking place, so they can just do so.
Why give people the easy option of opting out?
Not everybody can budget. There's a lot of people out there that have no budgeting skills.
This hasn't just posed problems for the tenants, but for the landlords too. They say they're spending more to collect less, putting huge amounts of resources into trying to prevent their tenants from falling into arrears. But in the long run, is that sustainable?
We have much more daily and weekly contact with people through home visits, face-to-face conversations, texts, phone calls. We're regularly reminding people that the payment's due on the day that they get their money. All those sort of interventions are happening at a level of about 4 times what we used to do.
Is that sustainable in the long run?
The money we will need to spend on this will be considerably larger than we spend in rent recovery at the moment. And in the end, that will come out of the money that would have been spent borrowing money to build new homes.
The Department for Work and Pensions say direct payment projects across the country saw 94% of people paying their rent, a change which will break down barriers which keep people from moving into work.